The final day of Bahrain testing began with the paddock's usual tense, dusty, and incredibly exciting atmosphere. After being shaken by Kimi Antonelli's engine blow-up and forced to shut the garage doors midday yesterday, Mercedes arrived this morning with a completely different energy, an air of revenge. As the morning session ended at 2 p.m., George Russell delivered a 1-minute 33.918 seconds lap. That time didn't just put him at the top of the session, it officially redefined the speed limits of the 2026 generation. Ferrari and Lewis Hamilton were close behind, but the early hours once again brought drama. Cadillac stopped out on track, triggering another red flag and reminding everyone that reliability remains the biggest question mark of this new era. Today in Sakhir, under 25 degrees Celsius air temperature and 29.5 degrees Celsius track temperature, teams began their first true pure speed runs, qualifying simulations with reduced fuel loads. For the first time this week, we saw glimpses of the real performance hierarchy. Before we dive into Mercedes' statement lap, Cadillac's ongoing reliability nightmare, and McLaren's smoky braking errors in full technical detail, subscribing to the channel to follow this revolutionary Bahrain finale with me would be incredible support. Now, let's begin breaking down the Bahrain Day 3 morning report in its deepest form. Mercedes didn't just complete laps today, they sent a clear message to the paddock after yesterday's nightmare. George Russell's lap of 1-minute 33.918 seconds became the true benchmark of the 2026 generation so far. No one has come close to that number yet. Heading out in the opening minutes of the session, Russell set that time on just his 10th lap, immediately revealing the raw potential of the Mercedes W17 power unit. This wasn't simply a qualifying simulation, it was a statement about how quickly Mercedes rebuilt and stabilized their systems after yesterday's dramatic engine failure. Across the entire morning, Russell completed 61 laps, blending reliability and outright speed in the same run plan. That balance may be even more impressive than the headline time itself. According to information circulating deep inside the paddock, Mercedes ran their engine maps close to full capacity for the first time today. Russell's sharp aggression on corner entry and the top speed figures recorded at the end of the straight suggest one thing: Mercedes does not intend to enter the 2026 era merely surviving, they intend to dominate. With this speed record, Mercedes effectively erased the memory of yesterday's engine blow-up and reminded everyone that in Formula One, momentum can change in a single morning. Right behind Russell, with a lap of 1-minute 34.209 seconds, sits Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari SF26. Ferrari continued to project the image of the most stable and docile car in the paddock. While Hamilton was just 0.291 seconds away from Russell's benchmark, one of the most talked about details in the pit lane was this. Ferrari did not appear to be pushing nearly as hard as Mercedes to achieve that time. Hamilton completed 47 laps during the morning session, with the team clearly focusing on tyre degradation data and long-run race pace simulations rather than chasing headlines. After stepping out of the car, Hamilton said, "The car feels more like a part of me every lap." That statement alone suggests Ferrari may currently be the most advanced team in adapting to the 2026 regulations. Where Mercedes answered yesterday's engine drama with explosive speed, Ferrari is responding with something quieter, smart, sustainable pace. Ahead of Melbourne, the Hamilton-Ferrari partnership seems to be whispering a subtle warning to its rivals. We may not always be the outright fastest, but we might be the most complete. The smoothness in Lewis's gear shifts and the car's composure under braking highlight just how refined Ferrari's engineering package has become. If this trend continues, Ferrari may not just be competitive in 2026, they could be the silent dark horse shaping the championship fight. In the very first hours of the morning, the red flag that broke Sakhir's famous silence came again from the paddock's new giant, Cadillac. When Valtteri Bottas had to pull his car over in Sector 2 and get out, all eyes in the paddock turned once again to the American garage. Cadillac doesn't seem to have fully solved the alternator and vibration nightmare it faced yesterday with Sergio Perez. This morning session, where Bottas could only manage 11 laps, was a total disappointment for General Motors engineers. Initial reports indicate that a safety protocol due to overheating in the electronic control unit was triggered. Cadillac entered the paddock with great excitement, but Bahrain's variable temperatures have officially upended the new manufacturer's thermal maps. Bottas's helpless image stranded mid-track was the clearest summary of how brutal the 2026 engines are as technological marvels. Cadillac solving this issue in the next few hours could determine the fate of their season. Engineers continue to work on the vibration harmonics within the engine. The famous braking difficulty of the 2026 cars echoed in the McLaren garage today. While Oscar Piastri was putting in the morning's most intense laps, he suffered a massive lockup at turn 10 and ran off track, the giant flat spot formed on Piastri's front tyre caused the car to shake suddenly and turned the session into an early tyre change break for him. This incident proved once again how dynamic and unpredictable ERS harvesting in the 2026 cars makes the brake balance. Although Piastri did a good job in terms of reliability by completing 45 laps, the perfect atmosphere McLaren caught with Norris yesterday looks a bit smoky today. Drivers still continue to describe the braking character of this new generation as ferocious and hard to control. Piastri's lockup showed that in 2026, even a 1mm error can throw a whole set of tyres into the bin in seconds. McLaren was forced to spend extra time in the garage for brake-by-wire software optimization. Instead of being the paddock's most fascinating technical laboratory, the Aston Martin garage has started to resemble a full-scale crisis center. Engineers and mechanics are no longer calmly experimenting, they are firefighting. Adrian Newey's group spent the morning session running 2 different engine cover concepts on the AMR26, effectively searching for a temporary band-aid. But the reality facing them is far harsher than even Newey's aerodynamic brilliance can instantly solve. Those visible cooling gills seen on certain runs are not an aggressive aero choice. They are a distress signal. They suggest that the Honda power unit is struggling to breathe in the Bahrain heat and is hitting a serious thermal bottleneck. For Aston Martin, this is no longer just an aerodynamic efficiency puzzle. The team appears trapped inside a triple nightmare: gearbox synchronization issues, Honda power unit reliability concerns, and a significant weight problem. Telemetry whispers from deep inside the paddock suggest that the AMR26 is sitting noticeably above the minimum weight limit. That excess mass is costing valuable tenths, especially in low-speed traction zones where acceleration and mechanical grip are everything. Newey's desperate balancing act, trying to cool the engine while also reducing aerodynamic drag, shows that a short-term fix may simply not exist. You cannot open the bodywork for airflow without sacrificing straight-line speed. Those jolting gear shifts and integration inconsistencies between the chassis and the Honda unit point towards something deeper than setup tweaks. This looks like a structural engineering challenge. Even for someone of Newey's caliber, solving mechanical integration issues, thermal instability, and weight excess simultaneously before Melbourne would require more than genius. It would require a miracle. For Aston Martin, the dream of dominating the 2026 revolution is already colliding with the harsh realities of Bahrain. Yesterday's leader, Red Bull and Max Verstappen, were the paddock's quietest and most mysterious team during this morning's session. Verstappen put in only 41 laps and stayed behind Russell and Hamilton on the timesheets, trying to deflect the paddock's interest elsewhere. However, noises from the Red Bull garage suggest that Max was working solely on system checks and reliability maps today. The Red Bull engine continued its clockwork-like structure from yesterday. Verstappen choosing consistent stints over ambitious laps could be the paddock's biggest sandbagging move. Laurent Marquise's smiling face in the garage is the clearest proof that Red Bull is hiding a much larger trump card in their pocket. Red Bull is preparing to take over the paddock in 2026 not with speed, but with flawless engineering integration. Max's ease in the car is a stark contrast to the other drivers wrestling with the steering. Red Bull is like a predator silently waiting for its prey. As the final morning session of Bahrain testing comes to an end, the first true map of the 2026 hierarchy is finally taking shape. George Russell's benchmark lap of 1 minute, 33.918 seconds with Mercedes was the clearest and fastest response imaginable after yesterday's engine blow-up. It wasn't just a quick lap, it was a statement of recovery, strength, and intent. On the other side of the spectrum, Ferrari and Lewis Hamilton's unshakable stability signals who might lead the marathon side of the season. If Mercedes looks explosive over one lap, Ferrari looks disciplined over distance. Cadillac's smoke clouds, Oscar Piastri's locked tyres, and Adrian Newey's mysterious covered components in the garage, all of these are fragments of the revolutionary chaos defining this new era in the paddock. So what do you think? Does George Russell's massive lap make Mercedes the outright favourite heading into Melbourne? Or will Max Verstappen strike back in the final afternoon session and erase that benchmark completely? Can Cadillac solve its reliability struggles before the season opener, or are we witnessing the early warning signs of a painful debut campaign? Let's break down our Bahrain Day 3 analysis and your 2026 predictions in the comments. I will continue dissecting every paddock leak, every sector split, and every hidden technical clue as they emerge.